The old man sat alone on the far end of Willowbend Park, shoulders slumped, staring at the pond as if the water held every mistake he'd ever made. His hands trembled slightly, folded in his lap, and the world around him moved without noticing he was even there. Joggers passed. Dogs barked. Kids laughed near the swings. But no one looked his way, no one cared to. No one except the little girl who would change everything. It happened on a warm Saturday afternoon, when the sun was bright enough to make the grass look like someone had painted it fresh. 8-year-old Mariah Jacobs was skipping along the walkway with her mother, clutching a plastic bag of breadcrumbs. Feeding the ducks was her favorite weekend ritual, the one thing that made her forget the noise of school, the whispers she didn't like, and the sadness she often sensed at home even when no one said anything about it. She loved feeding the ducks because they always came, they always listened. But today, Mariah's eyes weren't drawn to the water or the waddling line of ducks waiting for her. Instead, she noticed the old man sitting beneath the crooked oak tree. Something about him stopped her in her tracks. She tugged on her mother's sleeve. "Mama, look." Her mother, Patricia, barely glanced. "Probably just resting, baby. Come on." But Mariah didn't move. She kept staring. The old man wasn't just resting. His shirt was wrinkled, as if he slept in it. His shoes were dusty. His eyes were fixed on the pond, not blinking much. His face, lined and tired, looked like someone who had been alone for far too long. "He looks sad," Mariah whispered. Her mother finally turned her head again. "Maybe he is, sweetheart. But sometimes people want to be alone." Mariah shook her head. "No. He looks like he wants somebody to ask him something." Her mother raised an eyebrow. "Ask him what?" "I don't know yet, but something." Before her mother could say another word, Mariah took a step forward, her small sneakers crunching over the walkway gravel. She didn't walk fast. She didn't run. She approached him carefully, the way she would approach a scared animal, slow, gentle, letting him see her before she got too close. The old man didn't notice her until she was only a few feet away. When he looked up, his eyes softened, startled by the presence of a little girl who seemed to have materialized from nowhere. "Hello," she said, her voice soft but steady. He blinked. "Hello there. Shouldn't you be with your mother?" She pointed behind her. "She's right there. I just came to see you." He frowned slightly, not out of irritation but confusion. "To see me? Why?" Mariah studied his face for a moment, tilting her head as if trying to read something invisible. Then she said the words that made his eyebrows rise. "Can I sit with you?" Nobody had asked him that in years. Not his neighbors. Not the folks who used to wave when he walked his dog. No one since the day his world cracked open and everything he loved slipped out of reach. He hesitated, the surprise stuck in his chest. "I suppose you can," he said softly. "If you want to." Mariah sat beside him, close, but not too close. Close enough to show she chose his company. The old man turned his gaze back to the pond, unsure what to do with the sudden presence at his side. "My name's Mariah. What's yours?" He swallowed. The name felt strange leaving his mouth, like it hadn't been spoken aloud in a long time. "I'm Leonard." "Hi, Leonard." He almost smiled at the simplicity of it. The innocence. The kindness he hadn't expected today, or any day. After a quiet moment, Mariah looked at him again. "My mom says sometimes people want to be alone." She paused. "Do you want to be alone?" Leonard opened his mouth to say yes. To say that he didn't want to burden anyone, least of all a child. But the truth felt different with her sitting beside him. "No, not really." Mariah nodded, as if she had known that before he said it. "You look sad. Did something bad happen?" Her question was gentle, not nosy. Not pushy. Only curious in the way a child can be, curious because she cared. Leonard's eyes lowered. Yes. Something bad happened, a long time ago. And sometimes it still hurts. Mariah kicked her feet a little, thinking, then asked something that made him look at her in a way he hadn't looked at anyone in years. Do you need a friend? The words hit him harder than she knew. He had lost many things over the years, his wife, his son, his dog, his own sense of purpose. People had drifted away. Life had grown smaller and colder. He had stopped expecting anything good from anyone. I don't want to bother you, he whispered. You're not bothering me, Mariah said quickly. Sometimes I get sad too. When Daddy left, Mom cried a lot. But I told her that if people don't have friends, they get sadder. Maybe you need one too. Leonard inhaled slowly. The breeze rustled the leaves above them. For the first time in years, he felt something shift inside him. A friend. Would you really want to be friends with an old man like me? He asked. Mariah didn't even hesitate. Yes. That's what I came to ask you. Leonard's heart thumped. Mariah's mother watched from a distance, surprised, unsure if she should interrupt. But it was already too late. Mariah had made her surprising request. And Leonard's life was about to change. Leonard didn't know how to respond. The last time anyone had asked to be his friend, the world looked entirely different. His wife, Helen, was still alive. His son, Andrew, still called every weekend. His house still felt warm. His heart still felt useful. But now, an 8-year-old girl with bright eyes and a gentle voice was asking him something he thought he would never hear again. Mariah waited patiently, her hands resting on the plastic bag of breadcrumbs like she was holding something valuable. Leonard cleared his throat. I would like that very much. Mariah's eyes lit up. Good. Because friends don't let friends sit alone when they're sad. He swallowed, his voice rusty. You're wise for someone so young. She shrugged. Mom says that when your heart gets heavy, you hear things better. Like you can feel stuff people don't say. Leonard looked out at the pond again. Maybe she was right. Maybe grief had sharpened her in a way it had also dulled him. Maybe some people were broken open, and inside that brokenness was something strangely understanding. Can I tell you a secret? Mariah asked. Leonard nodded. Sometimes. I pretend everything's okay even when it's not. Because I don't want Mom to worry more than she already does. Leonard turned to her, surprised at the honesty. Does she know you feel that way? No, Mariah whispered. But I think she feels it too. Grown-ups pretend better than kids, but I still see it. The words pierced him. That deep, innocent perception. Kids saw things adults hid behind routines and tight smiles. Leonard had spent years pretending too. Pretending he didn't miss his wife so much he avoided their old house. Pretending he didn't replay the night his son stormed out, their argument echoing long after the door slammed. Pretending he didn't blame himself for things he could no longer fix. I understand, he said softly. More than you know. Mariah scooted a little closer. That's why I came over. I felt like you had a heavy heart too. Her sincerity nearly broke him. Thank you, he whispered. For noticing. Mariah opened the breadcrumb bag and took a handful. Want to help me feed them? Leonard hesitated, then nodded. Together, they tossed crumbs into the pond, watching the ducks flap and splash their way toward the food. The sun shimmered on the water, and for a moment, Leonard felt lighter, like some invisible weight had shifted off him. He almost smiled. Mariah glanced up at him. You smiled. Did I? A little. He let out a breath that sounded almost like a laugh. It was small, but it was real. The first real one in years. After they finished feeding the ducks, Mariah looked up at the crooked oak tree above them. My teacher says that people grow like trees. Sometimes they bend because storms push them, but they're still standing. Leonard stared at the branches. You're a very smart little girl. Mariah grinned. I read a lot. They sat together quietly. For the first time in years, Leonard didn't mind the silence. It wasn't empty. It wasn't cold. It was the kind of silence you share with someone who makes the world feel less sharp. After a few minutes, Mariah looked toward her mother, who was inching closer with cautious curiosity. Mama doesn't like when I wander off too far. She probably wants me to head back. Leonard nodded slowly. I understand. Mariah hopped off the bench but paused. Will you be here next Saturday? He blinked. I don't know. Can you be? She asked gently. Because if you're here, I can sit with you again. And we can talk. Friends talk. Leonard's chest tightened. He hadn't made plans with anyone in so long. He hadn't been someone's friend in even longer. Yes, he said quietly. I'll be here. I promise. Mariah smiled, that big childlike smile that could pull sunlight into any shadow. She waved and ran toward her mother. Patricia knelt down, whispering something anxiously, but then Leonard saw her face soften as Mariah spoke animatedly, pointing back at him. Patricia gave him a hesitant but warm smile. Leonard nodded politely. She took Mariah's hand and began walking toward the parking lot. Before they reached the corner, Mariah twisted around and waved at him again. He waved back. And then they were gone. For the next week, something unusual happened to Leonard. When he woke up each morning, he felt anticipation. Not dread. Not emptiness. Not that crushing silence that filled his house like fog. But the anticipation of something small yet meaningful, seeing Mariah again. He started to shave again. He combed his hair. He washed the same shirt he had worn for days and laid out a clean one. He even ate a proper breakfast for the first time in months. Saturday couldn't come fast enough. When the day finally arrived, Leonard walked to Willowbend Park earlier than he needed to. He sat on the same bench beneath the oak tree, watching the path where Mariah and her mother had walked the week before. Minutes passed. Then more. His heart thumped with every passing person. An elderly couple. A boy on a bike. A woman pushing a stroller. But no Mariah. Eventually, worry crept in, soft at first, then sharp. What if she forgot? What if her mother didn't want her talking to him again? What if he had misread the moment, and it had meant something only to him? He exhaled, forcing himself to stay patient. But just as he lowered his gaze to the gravel at his feet, he heard the sound of small footsteps, running. Leonard. She called. He looked up. And there she was, Mariah, rushing toward him with the same bright smile, her hair bouncing as she ran. Her mother followed behind, slower but not stopping her. You came. Mariah said breathlessly. Of course I did, Leonard replied. I told you I would. Mariah climbed onto the bench beside him, holding something in her hands. I brought you something. What is it? She opened her palms. A tiny friendship bracelet, woven with blue and green beads. I made it for you, she said. So you won't forget you have a friend now. Leonard swallowed hard. His eyes stung. He cleared his throat. It's beautiful, Mariah. Thank you. He slipped it onto his wrist. It fit perfectly. And for the first time in many years, he didn't feel alone in the world. Not even a little. Something had healed in him that he didn't know could heal anymore. Thanks to one brave little girl who walked up to a sad old man and made a surprising request. Their friendship had just begun. And it would change both of their lives in ways neither of them could imagine.